Bypoll in 4 Lok Sabha and 10 assembly seats today. BJP's Rajendra Gawat has won the Palghar Lok Sabha seat, while LDF's Saji Cherian has won in Chenganore assembly seat. Samajwadi Party has won the Noorpur assembly by a margin of 6,211 votes. The BJP has won in Uttarakhand's Tarali assembly seat. The NCP is leading in Bandar Gondia, RLD, which is ahead in Kairana, and the NDPP, which is has that lead in Nagaland. Okay, let's get in further details here on this being a crucial day as far as the opposition parties are concerned, as far as that grand third front, so to say. Let's get in those inputs. Our correspondent Viren with these details. Viren, please go ahead.
Significant day for the opposition parties, of course, in the Bypoll results today. Now, we've seen the results from R.R. Nagar in Karnataka, which wasn't a Bypoll. Remember, the elections there were deferred because of the voter ID card controversy. But the other results across the country, both Assembly and Lok Sabha, have been very encouraging for opposition parties. Now, what has happened is that in Palghar, in Maharashtra, you've got the BJP there winning. They held on to that seat, but in fact, Gondia, it's where the NCP has wrested that seat back from BJP control. Remember, it was Nana Patole who was the MP, the Member of Parliament from Gondia, and he resigned his position after differences within the party. So that left that seat vacant, after which the NCP candidate has now won. We're also seeing very positive results for the RLD in Kairana and Uttar Pradesh. That is an election that was being watched very, very closely. Remember, after the incidents of last year that led to communal clashes as well in Kairana, the victory there is for the RLD, which is against the BJP candidate who lost that election. It's again very significant results that are being seen all over the country, up and down the country, as well as in Bihar, where we have seen the RJD candidate beat the JDU by a massive margin. So you can see up and down the country there are a lot of results that have gone the opposition's way, further adding fuel to this entire theory about a united opposition against a BJP
That's right, Viren,
party.
but it's interesting to note the kind of outrage that one had seen amongst these opposition parties, particularly in bypolls that were taking place in Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh, in raising the issue of EVM tampering, in looking at explanations that came in from the Election Commission, in mocking that that excuse that it is because of extreme heat that the VVPATs have not worked either. Today, with the results swinging in their favor, no one's really asking that.
Well, absolutely. That's a fair point. That once the results are going your way, you're not going to complain about the circumstances in which, of course, some of those elections were held. Of course, we saw in Gondia, in particular in Maharashtra, where the polling numbers, in fact, the polling percentage wasn't the highest partly because, of course, of those multiple malfunctions that took place, which were later corrected, but also because of the heat that was there in Gondia and has been seen in many parts of the country. So those excuses have suddenly disappeared from the opposition parties, because today they're celebrating. Now, it's also important to point out, though, like in places like Palghar, it hasn't necessarily been a united opposition per se against the BJP, and therefore you have seen the BJP there winning that seat. One could make the case that had there been an alliance of some sort, maybe things could have been a little different. The fact of the matter is, though, that the BJP held on to that seat. And in Meghalaya as well, I have to point out, it's the Congress who won that particular seat. The results in Nagaland, of course, are still trickling in. But overall, the opposition would be pretty happy and satisfied with the kind of performances that they have they have shown today.
Okay, Viren, many thanks for getting us those inputs there. Results across the board now having been announced, except for Nagaland, as you pointed out there. Let's also switch the focus there regarding R.R. Nagar assembly seat, where polls had been deferred. The Congress today has won the R.R. Nagar assembly seat in Karnataka, and this is by a margin of about 1 lakh votes. This is where polls were differed when over 9,000 voter ID cards were seized from an apartment. The Election Commission, of course, had clarified that these are not fake ID cards. But the reason why so many voter ID cards were found from one particular apartment, inquiry on that still on. But let's get in further inputs. We have with us our correspondent Srija with these details. Srija, this of course once again a day of celebration for the Congress there in Karnataka, in RR Nagar, one where they had accused the BJP of cooking up perhaps a story of fake voter ID cards to defer the polls.
Well, absolutely, Seher. In fact, what we're given to understand over here is the Congress that has emerged victorious at this point in time, because remember that we are looking at Muniratna, the controversial character at this point in time. That is exactly the reason why we see the elections which had to take place on 12th of May had to be deferred to 28th at least, because remember, there were at least over 9,000 fake voter IDs found in an apartment. This is in Jalahalli police station limits, and which also belongs to Muniratna is what is being told. Although an FIR was registered, we understand that they did not countermand the candidate, but we see that they just deferred the elections to May 28th. And today being the results, we see that Congress has emerged victorious with at least 1,08,064 votes, where we see BJP is tailing.
Many thanks, Srija, for getting us those details. Of course, a lot of symbolism in play that the Congress would like to rake into with this victory there in RR Nagar.